Ms. Hartzler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, gentlemen, for your service. I have a few questions I'd like to ask on the LRS program. Secretary Mattis, last July, then Undersecretary of State for Arms Control, Rose Gott-Miller, testified before Congress regarding the Long-Range Standoff Cruise Missile Program, and I'd like to introduce her written testimony for the record. Here are a few quotes from Secretary Gott-Miller's testimony, which she said were focused on three key points. First, the LRSO is consistent with our arms control commitments and the President's Prague agenda. Second, the LRSO supports strategic stability and does not undermine it. Third, it is important in the eyes of our allies. She elaborated, there is no evidence that the LRSO or our nuclear modernization program are prompting an action-reaction cycle or catalyzing arms race. The LRSO is valuable in maintaining strategic stability. Indeed, it is the absence of a nuclear-armed cruise missile that might leave us more vulnerable to unintended escalation during a crisis. Without a standoff cruise missile option, future presidents may find themselves facing the unpalatable choice of responding to nuclear coercion or attack with SLBMs or ICBMs. So, Mr. Secretary, as the nuclear posture review continues and you examine the LRSO program, how will you and your team consider the input of the nation's senior diplomats like Ms. Gott-Miller? And do you agree with her position that the LRSO enhances strategic stability and is important for assuring our allies?
Ms. Gott-Miller's reputation stands on its own merit. I have had private discussions with her as recently as this last month in Brussels, and she's a trusted advisor. As far as whether or not I would stand on the LRSO right now, I'm going to wait until we have the study done, and then I can let you know. But I have no reservations about taking Ms. Gott-Miller's ideas on board. No reservations at all.
Great, and I hope that you will read her comments and her testimony on that, because I think it was very, very good insight there. I want to shift gears just a little bit here to another topic. So, General Dunford, in 2012, the Obama administration ended the U.S. military strategy that required a force structure and readiness levels capable of fighting two large-scale wars simultaneously. At the time, the Pentagon stated that times have changed and the United States no longer faced a peer military on par with the Soviet Union. And this worldview was quickly disrupted by a resurgent Russia, an expanding China, and continued instability in North Korea and Iran. So my question is, what do you see as the force structure requirement in order to guarantee American security of our allies across the globe? Do we need to be able to fight a conventional war with China and Russia simultaneously? And are we currently able to fight two conventional wars at once? And if not, what do you see as the greatest capability gap that must be addressed?
Congresswoman, we do confront today Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and violent extremism. And we're going to go through the Defense Security Review. We're going to have a closed hearing on Thursday night, and I would like to talk to our force sizing construct and the challenges we face in a closed hearing, if we could do that.
Yes, but you agree it's important to be able to address all of these at the same time, right?
Certainly one or more.
Right. Okay, I look forward to that. The last question back to Mr. Secretary. I remain deeply concerned about our strike fighter shortfall. According to the Vice Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Bill Moran, 2/3, more than 60% of our Navy's strike fighters, the planes that are launching the entirety of the Navy's attacks against ISIS, cannot fly. I'm pleased to see the FY18 budget request, including 14 FA-18 Super Hornets, as well as another 10 Super Hornets as the top priority of the Navy's unfunded priority list. So can you talk about how important it is for us to address the Navy's strike fighter shortfall and how important new procurement is in that effort?
Yes, ma'am. The bottom line is we cannot simply repair enough fighters to bring them back up to full strength. So we're actually going to have to buy more fighters. Furthermore, when you look at the $21 billion that Congress gave us as FY17 supplemental, Much of that went into buying spare parts for fighters for the very reason you're highlighting here, and Admiral Moran highlighted. So we're on to the problem. We've got to keep the modernization going, but we're going to need some gap fillers before we get to F-35. We're going to have more strike fighter Hornets, for example, for the Navy to address this problem. So we share your appreciation of the problem, and we are addressing it. But at the same time, it's going to take a little while before you hear better testimony in here.
Thank you.